What are you saying, bro? You ready for another lesson?
Man, I can't wait, man.
That's a screw.
You can even tell already, you know?
Hey, right rudder, that's it.
Wheel 01, you can backtrack now.
Needs to be over the field in between the two.
Alright.
What do you know about increasing the angle of bank?
Full speed.
Exactly.
You're fine, you're on the centre line, and then suddenly you're not, bro.
Next time you're in a grass bro.
That landing. Whew. I'm worn out.
Are you aiming to be a commercial pilot?
Yes, at some
Right.
point.
Yes, so these calls, they have to be made in a commercial environment. Well done, mate. You're going to make a good commercial pilot.
Thank you.
I'll walk up behind the aircraft. You're very behind the aircraft.
We've got a fuel leak. Are we? Yeah.
By the way, Roger the whiskey, sorry. The whiskey is quite strong. Mate, you're going to make a good commercial pilot.
You still have control.
No, you tell me when you want to take control. You tell me when you want to take control.
Ever? Do I have to?
Yes. Because I say so. Bear in mind, you're going to have to work with what you've got, normally. What do you need?
That's what. I'll make use of what I've got.
Previously on Future Pilot 901.
Okay, how you feeling?
Feeling good?
Good. You're gonna go solo.
Okay. Student Will 08 is ready for departure. We're off.
Wheel 08, surface wind is 330 at 9 knots, we've got one to vacate.
Student Will 08.
Charlie Kilo is right base, get out to land. Student Wheel 08, minute takes and well done.
This aircraft is so nice to fly with. Yeah, very nice.
Victor Golf, clear to enter South Controlled airspace now in the climb task chute 3,000 feet, heading 090 degrees.
Yes, 3,000 feet is very nice and smooth. Yeah, it's not like in the cloud.
Golf, resume that location, Sierra Lima Bill. This comes the procedure report on localized established.
The whole point of getting your IMC is you fly clouds. That's sort of where we are roughly. See?
Okay.
So we came in for an approach on runway 23. We did a missed approach, and now we're being vectored around to do another approach into runway 23.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is Dee, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901. Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aviators, aviation enthusiasts. Welcome to Future Pilot 901 Live. This is your future captain speaking. My name is Dee, and this show is brought to you live every Monday, 7 p.m. Zulu. This is episode number 21. We're on a streak. Shout out to you guys. Happy Monday. Another day, another dollar. Another day, another dollar. Shout out to everyone passing through. Thank you very much for taking the time to pass by. I hope you had a great weekend. Excuse me 1 second. There's a winner on the stream. There's a winner on the stream. 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. How does this look? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to me. Check it out. Actually, wait. As you can see, I have the silver medal. It was a very interesting weekend, man. It was a very interesting weekend. I decided to roll back the years and hang out with the youngers. I decided to test out my fitness, test out my skills against the younger, fresher dancers. So I went out to the street dance competition. Did 1 second. I got someone to ban, as usual, right at the beginning of the stream. Okay, you're banned. Thank you. Yeah, so I went out, got myself into the competition, and came out with one of these. Why? Because life is too short. Whenever you got an idea, just go ahead and do it. Why do you have to hold back? Why do you have to pigeonhole yourself into one field when you can be in multiple fields? Now, obviously, dating advice for the gentlemen with the ladies. Dating advice, if I may. Here is advice, guys. Always play things down. And just keep it cool. Always play it down. You know. So I went out to this show, to this battle, to this competition, and went out, did the first round. Meanwhile, I knew I killed it. Right? Like enough to get through. Came back to the lady. Oh my god, that was so good. I was like, yeah, it's fine. So, yeah, it's all right. Yeah. Went out for the next round. Gave it everything, energy, bat, street dance, move, wave here, bat, isolation, gut, bat, you know, did all of that, came off the stage. Lady was like, "Oh my gosh, you were so good. That was so good." I was like, yeah, sorry. Then they announced the winners. All right. They went bronze medal, gave one away. Silver medal, they called my name. I should have really got first, but you know, I'm a bit salty about that one. I'm a bit salty about that. And then they announced the gold winner, and we took photos or whatever. Came back, I just took it off. I was like, it's not gold anyway. Just took it off, gave it to the lady. It's like, yeah, it's whatever. Meanwhile, when I got home, I wore this medal for the whole day yesterday. I wore this medal the whole day. I went to the toilet with it. I went to shower with it. I cooked with it. I watched a movie with it. Like, listen, So dating advice, always play it down. Always play it down with the ladies. Anyways, some good, bad dating advice from me. That's just to warm up the crowd. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. I might need to refresh the stream because my soundboard is like glitching. Why is my soundboard glitching? Let me test it. Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, that's trash. So let me just refresh that, check everything is working crispy, and then I'll tell you what we're talking about today, because today is going to be a good one. Here we go. We're back. Should we check that again? Check the soundboard. But the show must go on. Okay, so what's in our flight bag for today? We're going to talk about, I want to find out what is CHIRP. I'm going to talk a little bit about CAA updates for the week. So we're going to be looking into CHIRP a little bit and checking out Redhill, Gatwick, Infringement, Hotspot, because there was a bit of information published over the last week about it. So we want to check that out so that we can be in the know. Going to obviously do our preps for the airlines as we usually do. Then we have the Air Accident Investigation Branch November Bulletin to look at. And then we're going to be discussing some updates from the channel. And finally, we'll be talking about night rating and IMC rating. If you missed the last episode, the last episode was pretty good. So if you missed it, luckily you still have it up on YouTube, so you can go check it out. Also, I started doing a midweek flight sim stream, so it was quite cool. We did some circuits around Northfield, and I was talking about how to maximize using your flight sim specifically for PPL training. And this week it's going to be different. I'm actually going to be doing emergency procedures, so I'm looking forward to that. But having said all of that, having warmed your appetite and got your mental and intellectual juices going with that teaser, let's get into some CAA updates for this week. All right, so I've been seeing this acronym CHIRP, and I have no idea what it is. So I decided to eliminate my ignorance, right? And, you know, sometimes we hold back from asking stupid questions because we're like, well, if I ask a stupid question, then everyone will know how stupid I am. But here's the thing. If you do ask the stupid question, then you get the answer, then you don't have to be stupid anymore. And I think that's really good advice. So I'm going to ask my stupid question, and which is, what is CHIRP? And hopefully that stupid question will be no more. All right, let's check it out. Where are you, CHIRP? There we go. Let's have a look. What is CHIRP? Right, CHIRP stands for Confidential Human Factors Incident Reporting Program. But what does it actually mean? We live in an age of wait 1 second. Why is that? What? I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this. Okay, we live in an age of video, so let's see if we can pull up a video to tell us all about it.
Hi there, we're CHIRP. No, not that sort of CHIRP. In fact, CHIRP stands for Confidential Human Factors Incident Reporting Program. We're here to help improve safety in our skies and at sea. We do that by providing a voluntary, independent and confidential reporting system for people who work in the maritime and aviation sectors through which they can share safety-related concerns. If they see something or experience something that might have or does have an impact on their safety or the safety of their colleagues, third parties or passengers, they can report it to us in strict confidence. We then collate and analyse the reports we receive and suggest ways and safety improvements the organisations involved could make to stop issues from happening again. CHIRP analyses trends across the hundreds of reports we receive and alerts organisations like the Civil Aviation Authority about safety trends in the aviation industry. We work alongside airlines and operators, and we encourage people to report issues to their employer, such as the airline they work for, in the first place. But we know that it's not always easy. Issues can get lost in the system, and people sometimes worry that reporting will get them in trouble or affect their chances of getting on at work. We get that. That's why all reports made to us are disidentified to anyone outside of CHIRP. Only CHIRP staff have access to the details. We'll only discuss, with the reporter's permission, what happened, not who was involved. We just want to know what happened in the reporter's own words. Our focus is on human factors, so we might get reports about performance and training, rules and procedures, the design and use of aircraft and equipment, communication, workplace issues, resources, organisation, or management. We also offer a confidential reporting function for people to share any bullying, harassment, discrimination or victimization they may have experienced or seen happen to others. Here's an example of how reporting can save lives. A passenger aircraft was ready to depart Chiang Kai-shek International Airport for the USA. A typhoon was raging at the time. There were 2 runways available, and the aeroplane was due to take off from runway 05 left. However, the flight crew mistakenly made an early right turn and taxied onto runway 05 right, which was closed for construction work. As the aircraft accelerated for takeoff, it hit barriers and construction equipment, causing it to burst into flames, tragically resulting in deaths and injuries. The flight crew hadn't verified the correct taxi route and took off from the wrong runway. Why? Well, the investigation team discovered several runway facilities at the airport, such as taxiway lighting, were not working or didn't meet international safety standards at the time. A week before, a similar incident had happened, but that time the flight crew realised their mistake and changed their taxi course onto the correct runway, stopping a disaster. If they had reported this incident, improvements to the runway or warnings about poor lighting, etc. might have been made, and the subsequent tragic incident could have been averted. Reporting of close calls is really important. People should always report to their organisation first and wherever possible. But if they don't feel able to do that, then we're a safety net, allowing them to call out without fear of blame or reproach. All reports are valuable. Sometimes it might be incidents that turned out okay, but make for good learning experiences for others. Every report we receive helps us to potentially improve safety and make working environments in aviation and maritime better places to be. You report it, we help sort it. To find out more about CHIRP and our work, to make a report, download a report, or see our newsletter, download the CHIRP app or visit chirp.co.uk. Oh, and we're also on social media, so follow us on Facebook, X, and LinkedIn to keep up to date. CHIRP. You report it, we help sort it.
Yes, okay, so that is CHIRP. I've seen that come up a few times in my mailing list, and I just had no clue what it was. So I'm glad that I have just eliminated my ignorance to do with CHIRP. So it's really useful. But I wonder what the perception of it is, particularly for airlines and operators. Do they kind of feel like it's like a snitch, basically, like a snitch kind of thing, or do they appreciate that? I mean, I would imagine that they do appreciate, because at the end of the day, it's about ensuring people's safety and keeping people alive, you know, getting them to their destination, because yeah, it's not the one to lose people due to things that could have been prevented. So yeah, something to think about, something to ask people about, you know. So I guess when I do speak to airline pilots, maybe I might bring it up just to find out what is the perception from the inside. What's the perception from the inside? But that was CHIRP. So next up on our CAA update for the week is Redhill Gatwick infringement hotspot. And this is quite useful. I did my second trial flight at Redhill. I've never flown back since. They had a really nice cafe there. Let me see if I can show you an image, actually. They had a really nice cafe with some nice food. Unfortunately, that cafe closed. I don't know why. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really. But I will fly back there one day. I'm sure I will. I just don't like it because it's right in like Gatwick airspace, which is not very enticing. Let's see. Yeah, in this image, this was actually around about lockdown time. Let's have a look. That was me at Redhill. Look at that. Look at that burger. Oh, so lush. So lush. It did taste nice. It did taste nice. This was the 1st of March 2020. 1st of March. Now, obviously, you can see I had hair. Had a nice hairstyle going on there. Nice little fade on the side. Well, how things change. The one thing that's guaranteed in life is change. Things will always change. So we better be prepared for it. Guess what else we should be prepared for? Flying into Redhill, because apparently there are people that are infringing controlled airspace. So let's have a look at this now. I kind of had a breeze through before, but really for me, this is a learning opportunity. It's a time to actually take in this information. So hopefully you're going to join me on this journey. Hopefully it's useful to you. Right, Redhill preventing airspace infringements in the vicinity of Gatwick. Of course, Gatwick is one of our major airports here in the UK and definitely in and around London. Effective infringement on terminal control and Gatwick approach. A controller is required to provide a minimum separation of 3 nautical miles laterally and 3,000 feet vertically. Interesting. How I would remember that is when you're around controlled airspace, what is it called? Not acronym. It's mnemonic is take 2. Okay. So you're taking 2. Remain 2 nautical miles from the boundary of that airspace. And if it's above you or beneath you, take 200 feet. Okay, so take 2. So how I'm going to remember this is you're not taking 2, you're taking 3, right? So that's how they work. They need to take 3. We take 2, they take 3. And they take 3 by ensuring that they need us to remain laterally 3 nautical miles, or they need to have a minimum separation of 3 nautical miles and 3,000 feet vertically between IFR and any unknown aircraft in the control area. An infringement of Gatwick controlled airspace may have an immediate impact on the controller's workload and may require the controller to issue avoiding action or a suspension of Gatwick movements. In some cases, an immediate loss of separation may occur between the unknown aircraft and any aircraft inside controlled airspace. A suspension of arrivals will result in arrivals holding with an immediate impact on approach and terminal control area, controller workload, pilot workload, and results in delays and disruption to the airport operation. Basically, when we kind of wander into controlled airspace, it has much, much bigger impact than just us wandering, right? Because they might have to delay arrivals. Then the pilots need to figure out how much fuel they've got. Then they need to figure out where they're going to hold, and then updating the passengers that we're holding because there's an unknown aircraft. It's a whole mess, basically. So it's better avoided, which makes sense. I like having the context behind these things. All right. Gatwick controlled airspace. The Gatwick CTR extends from surface to 2,500 feet. Let me zoom in. You can kind of see it there from 2,500 feet. And then the CTA is 1,500 feet to 2,500 feet. All right. And then the LTMA, London TMA, is from 2,500 feet plus all the way to flight level 195. To assist VFR pilots, the airspace is aligned with many easily identifiable ground features. Okay, there's the M25 on the northern boundary. Where's the M25? So this is Redhill and M25 junction 7. M25 junction 7 is there. Then we have the A25 just outside the northern edge. Then we have the Redhill to Tunbridge Railway, which is Redhill, Tunbridge, this railway here, to Tunbridge. Then we have Bow Beach Reservoir on the eastern boundary of CTA, Bow Beach Reservoir there, and Lath Hill just inside the northwestern corner of the Gatwick CTR. So that's about here, right? And that's quite useful to have those features help. Right, Redhill Aerodrome is situated approximately 4.5 nautical miles northeast of Gatwick Airport. The aerodrome traffic zone, or ATZ, is a non-standard shape due to the southern half of the aerodrome laying within Gatwick CTR, whilst the northern half lays beneath Gatwick CTA. So here you go. It's kind of like this weird kind of shape. Not really a full circle like most ATZs would be. All right, so there's a Redhill local flying area. The LFA is not coincident with the ATZ, interesting, and comprises two parts, A and B. The maximum altitude in both LFAs is 1,400 feet on the Redhill QNH, unless otherwise coordinated by Gatwick ATC. All aircraft joining or leaving Redhill LFA must do so at a point north of the Gatwick CTR. Okay, let me check that again. All aircraft joining or leaving the Redhill LFA must do so at a point north of the Gatwick CTR. So if I come back here, Gatwick CTR, do so from a point north. Yeah, cool. That's useful to know when flying there. The western fillet of the LFA permits aircraft to enter and leave the ATZ via Buckland VRP without entering the CTR. So where's Buckland VRP? There. Okay, got you. And so we can see here Gatwick CTA is 1,500 to 2,500 feet, whereas here this side LFA A is surface to 2,500 feet. So pretty useful stuff to know. I can see why they would have multiple issues there. Anyways, scrolling down, let's have a look. Air traffic control is provided by Redhill. Conspicuity code is there. Right, I tell you what, let's come all the way down to the kind of conclusion or summary at the end. Preventing an airspace infringement. To prevent an airspace infringement as part of the pre-flight planning and in-flight execution, pilots are strongly encouraged to read the Redhill operation procedures documents. These are freely available on the website. This page links to documents which contain details of the LFAs, VRPs, as well as detailed information relating to arrival, departure, track circuits, and noise abatement. Make a detailed plan. Identify climb and descent points along your route and incorporate take 2. Remember, we talked about take 2. Wherever possible, and mark these points on your chart and VFR moving map device as waypoints and incorporate them into your plog. Know which VRP are relevant to your flight and what they look like from the air. And of course, if you want to, and this is a trick, I can't believe I didn't know this trick, but if you want to know what your VRP looks like in the air, great way to do it. Just go Google Earth or go, Google Maps and obviously show the terrain. Really useful feature that I never thought about before. But you can actually, because everything looks so different in the air compared to on the ground. You have a bird's eye view, and if you've never seen that bird's eye view, it's it's not easy to spot. Shout out to OBH, thank you for passing by. It's an email, it doesn't show on this software. Shout out to you though, thank you for passing by. All right, let's finish this up. All right, so use the Gatwick Frequency Monitoring Code, FMC. This is something we talked about before. Pilots operating outside of controlled airspace, the Biggin Hill and Redhill ATZs, but proximate to Gatwick controlled airspace and not making use of Farnborough laws are encouraged to make use of Gatwick FMC by monitoring Gatwick Director on 126.825. Ensure that you're operating on the correct QNH by listening to Redhill ATIS on 125.305. If you're unable to receive the Redhill ATIS, use the Gatwick QNH from its ATIS 136.525. Useful to know. Wherever possible, take 2. Remain 200 feet below or 2 nautical miles from the boundary of Gatwick's controlled airspace in areas of high terrain. When below Gatwick CTA, ensure to monitor your altitude to prevent inadvertent climbs into controlled airspace. And that's a really good point, actually, because when the ground is rising and you then think you're lower, so you're more likely to climb up some more. And another trick that I learned and I'm reminding myself of is when you have sometimes when you're flying into aerodromes that are near controlled airspace, they might give you QFE, which is the height above the ground or height above the aerodrome level. So what you don't want to do is have QNH, then set QFE, and then kind of inadvertently go into climb into controlled airspace. So one trick is if you've got 2 altimeters, set QFE on one, set QNH on the other one, and then you got the best of both worlds. The best of both worlds, which is a useful reminder for me. If appropriate, request a clearance. If for any reason a climb is required above the base of the CTA, then a clearance must be obtained from Gatwick Director or 126.825. If in doubt, contact Gatwick Director for assistance. Impact of forecast weather on your flight. Thermic or turbulent conditions can inadvertently push you upwards. Use the regulated Met Office aviation briefing service in your planning. In addition, refer to Farnborough and Heathrow METARs and TAFs to better visualize local conditions and how they might affect your flight. Apply threat and error management when planning and flying. Always consider airspace when making a detailed plan. Build in climb and descend points when routing in the vicinity of multiple CTAs with differing base altitudes. Know what VRPs look like and what airspaces lies above them or close by. One of the biggest causes of infringement is distraction. Manage that threat when operating close to controlled airspace. All right. Well, that is your CAA update for the week. Obviously, if you want to know more, check out the CAA website, or for this one, you can obviously go to airspace-safety.com/hot-spot-narratives. Yeah, or you can just look up. If it's relevant to you, you can look up Redhill preventing airspace infringements. And that is your CAA update of the week. So, the question is, when was the last time I flew close to Gatwick? When was the last time I flew close to Gatwick? Well, you know what? I don't just have to tell you. I can show you. Check this out. Flew close to Gatwick and flew around Gatwick and flew to somewhere pretty cool and had a good time. Check this out if you've never seen it. I've always loved flying.
Hello. Onto the radar. Come on. Well done.
And dancing, there's no denying. If only I could blend the two. I know what I'll do. I'll fly to a new place to dance with a new face. Enjoying the wings a private pilot license brings.
That was a little bit gusty.
Just made a no-fly decision.
Squawk on switch duty, 3 call shore.
A different way to our build and advance.
2-0, join downwind.
I call it fly to dance.
Full flaps.
Ooh, nice one.
Flaps come up.
Well, flight, man.
Foxtrot Sierra, welcome to shore.
We have everything in this flight, man.
Everything, bro.
Yes, shout out to Chris in the video. Shout out to Chris. Hey, has anyone seen Chris? Because he's dropped off the map. Has anybody spotted Chris? Somebody please check on Chris. I don't know what happened to him. We might need to send the search and rescue team because Chris has got lost. Anyways, I hope you're good, man. I hope he is well. Anyways, if you have not checked that video out, make sure you hit the YouTube Future Pilot 901 and search Fly to Dance and enjoy the so far. Is it 3-part series so far? 1, 2, 3-part series so far. And I've got 2 more episodes to come. So enjoy that. Right. As some of you know, it's nearly coming up to sponsored cadet scheme season. That means in January, TUI are going to be opening up their sponsored cadet scheme for the MPL program. Then at some point, as it happened this year, probably I'm guessing Aer Lingus will open up, and then at some point British Airways will open up Speedbird Pilot Academy selection process. So we need to stay sharp. We need to keep ourselves sharp. You know how it is every day, every week, practicing the skills that we need to pass those assessments and putting ourselves a little bit under pressure, doing it on a live show. Why? Because I can, because I want to, because I want to. The biggest trick in life, the biggest, you know, the biggest obstacle in life is ourselves. No matter what your goal is, what your dream is, it's yourself. And managing what happens up here in your mind. You can be the best at something, but if mentally you're off, maybe you're particularly negative that day, maybe you're anxious, you're not going to perform at your best. If you're not that great, but you happen to be at a really good mental state, you will outperform yourself. You will overachieve. So it's important to practice the skill, but most importantly, it's important to practice with your mind. So that's why I do it out here. So let's check it out. Am I going to reach 300 this evening? Am I going to reach 300 this time? I don't know, but let's have a go. And of course, I've got a new song for you guys. I have a new song for you guys. So I've been playing Tyrone's music, but today I'm going to introduce you to a new song. Check it out.
Well, I've seen this girl, you know she looks like Ruby Funk. She was feeling her mind with all crazy kind of junk, telling me our star sign did more than a trick. I said, really, baby, well now, is that a fact? She told me Mercury's in retrograde. Said, is that so? Well, I don't care for astrology, would love to know just who and what's your pretty face seen. She blew me a kiss and said, you know where I've been. There she goes now, Ruby Funk. There she goes now, Ruby Funk. There she goes. Well, I blew out my finance, look good shade, and said, I'm sorry, baby, you must be about twice my age. She just kind of laughed. I said, I'm only playing. You must be 27, just like Janice must be, baby. There she goes now, Ruby Funk. 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 I'm just stuck and I don't know what to do. You see, she plays my mind and I live oh so unkind, but I just can't stop myself loving you, yeah. There she goes now, Ruby Funk. There she goes now, Ruby Funk. There she goes now, Ruby Funk. There she goes now, Ruby
Yes. Not a bad score, not a bad score, not a bad score. Probably one of the best ones I've done on stream. Not the best one I've done in life, but definitely a good one on stream. Shout out to the music, Matty Long and the Matty Long and the what? Matty Long, Ruby Funk was the song. What are they called? Matty Long and the what? Matty Long, Ruby Funk. Let me check that out. Matty Long and the Love Guns. That's what it is. Matty Long and the Love Guns. Shout out to Matty. Something's happened to my lighting, so we're going to have to sort that out. But in the meantime, guess what? If you haven't checked it out before, here's what you can find on the Future Pilot 901 YouTube channel. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. All right, check this out.
Nice takeoff.
That's a screw. I was waiting for that because everyone does it.
I'm gonna make sure that you can do it. And you can do it, I know.
Gonna get to the height of a double-decker bus.
How about this height?
Smoothly throttle to idle. Smoothly raise the nose.
This is floating. It's float.
Yes, man. Good food after hard days of flying, bro.
Bro, it's needed, man. That landing. Woo. I'm worn out.
Yes, you have all of that on the Future Pilot 901 YouTube page. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Share it if you think it's useful. Definitely, if you're working through your PPL training, you might find it useful to see somebody else go through the paces so that the first time you're learning it in the aircraft is not the first time you're learning it in the aircraft. That's the idea. And in doing so, you get to save yourself a little bit of money and a little bit of stress along the way. I definitely found it useful to watch aviation YouTubers whilst I was doing my flight training. And as I continue to progress, I will continue watching, like instrument lessons and all that kind of stuff. Because if you can learn before you're in the aircraft stressed and paying lots of money, why not do it? Why not do it? So that is that. Anyways, speaking of sponsored cadet scheme season, do you guys know that it's also scholarship season? A lot of the scholarships, the flying scholarships, open up around about this time. You can look out for the Air League. You can look out for the Honorable Company of Air Pilots, and potentially other ones as well. And there are scholarships from gliding scholarships to private pilot's license scholarships that will pay for your whole training for private pilot's license, so that you could fly for fun, build your hours, build your experience, and move on at some point to the airlines. Not obviously, some of you may or may not know, I'm a previous scholar, PPL scholar of through the Honorable Company of Air Pilots. So I highly recommend it. The PPL scholarships for the air pilots are not yet open. They will be this Thursday, but I definitely did not just tell you that. Okay, I did not tell you that, but they open this Thursday. Now, here's what I'll say. Scholarships open. You do not have to be the first person to apply. Like, you get no brownie points for being the first person to apply. What I would advise is take your time, read the terms and conditions, draft your application, and don't use ChatGPT. And make sure your application is as strong as possible. Get a group of trusted people. Yeah, get them to look at your application. Make sure that you hit all the criteria and then send it. But there is no advantage in being the first to click send, because what some people do is they saved last year's application. They expect this year's application to be exactly the same. And as soon as it goes live, they send it in because they think their name is going to be like, whoa, you're the first one. Yeah, you might end up actually shooting yourself in the foot. So I would advise, don't rush it. Take your time. It's probably going to be open for like a month and a bit. Don't quote me. I'm just giving you gossip. Yeah. But what is open is the gliding scholarships. The gliding scholarship applications, they are open. So you can apply to have a week residential during the summer, where you not only get to help with the running of the gliding club, but you also get to soar up into the sky yourself. And a lot of scholars get to the point of actually doing a virtual solo. What is a virtual solo? Is basically when you fly in a glider and you fully control the circuit. The instructor is sitting behind you, but they don't put any inputs into the control. They don't give you an advice. They just sit in there for safety. So that is usually one of the greatest achievements that scholars are proud of at that stage. So what does that look like? I hear you asking. I can hear your minds thinking. So I am going to show you. Why? Because it's better to show you. Why tell you when I can show you? Why tell you when I can show you? So check this out. Edited by yours truly. Edited by yours truly. Oh, I might have messed this up. Oh, please don't. Internet, don't mess around, internet. I think my RAM has been stretched beyond its capacity. But we're still here, so check this out.
Shut and locked, resisting upward pressure. Brakes and canopies closed and locked. Black cable on please.
Best part. I can't see everything.
Yeah, but everything. Yeah.
I mean,
oh, it was so fun. I felt like I learned so much in just a week.
Generally, it's been really nice actually to get to know new people.
A gliding scholarship.
A gliding scholarship.
And a scholarship.
Gliding scholarship.
Gliding scholarship.
Gliding scholarship by air pilots.
Yes, so if you're interested in applying for that, go to airpilots.org/scholarships, or pass it on to somebody else who might benefit from that, because these kind of opportunities are like gold, especially when you're like 16 plus, you're young, and you're trying to get yourself started into aviation. Great way to get started. Great, definitely memorable, looks great on the CV. Yeah, if you can get yourself a scholarship, have flown an aircraft, that looks great on your CV. So yeah, definitely something to add there. There's skills like teamwork, communication that you kind of develop in that situation, in that scholarship residential. All right, dipping back into our flight bag. What do we have? What do we have before we get into night rating and IMC? So the Air Accident Investigation Branch have released November Bulletin. And we've been keeping track of all the releases. So we are pretty much up to date. Which I'm very, very happy about. Yeah. Yes, indeed. But don't take my word for it. Let's actually have a look and see what the report looks like. Here we go. All right. So there you are. Bosch. So let's have a look at the contents. So, of course, this covers everything. Commercial air transport, general aviation is covered, unmanned aircraft system, or even unwomaned aircraft systems. And there are a few different categories, but it covers all of aviation, right? So in general aviation, which is usually the focus for us, there's fixed wing within general aviation, there's rotorcraft, etc. Now, we don't have anything in aviation other than the one. Vans, RV, I might check this out actually. I haven't read this one. But I shall come down to, what is this, page 3. Okay, we'll come back to page 3. Let's have a quick look at this, because this is something that we've looked at before, but we'll kind of just refresh our minds. So this is the Sportstar SLM Golf Charlie Mike Golf Bravo. And this accident happened on the 1st of September 2024, about 8 a.m. And there was one crew, and unfortunately, the injury was fatal. The aircraft was destroyed. The pilot's commander's age was 71 years old, and they had 390 total hours, of which 181 were on the type. Okay. So synopsis: after departing Cole Aston Airfield, the pilots of Golf Charlie Mike Golf Bravo encountered weather that was not compatible with VFR, with flight under VFR. Following a series of descending orbits overhead Chesterfield, the aircraft departed from controlled flight and struck the ground, fatally injuring the pilot. Okay, and we can see that is the flight path where they took off, and here they're climbing. Now they're descending, and then they go here, and then descend over Chesterfield, and eventually the accident site is there. Of course, if you want to look at this in more detail, you can go or just Google AAIB. You can put in Golf Charlie Mike Golf Bravo accident, and that will probably come up. This is the aircraft. Actually a really nice looking aircraft. Sportstar, the Evector Sportstar SLM is a 2-seat microlight designed in the Czech Republic. So let's come down to the end, the conclusion of what had happened. So just so you know, this is the view, but on the day of the takeoff, the pilot thought that, the weather would get worse later on, particularly at the destination, so they rushed leaving. So here is an image taken from CCTV or video footage of the actual airfield. So distance to the trees is about 400 meters on this way, and in the direction of takeoff, it's about 600 meters visibility. And they estimate that the cloud base could have been anywhere around 100 feet in the direction of takeoff. So pretty much taking off and straight into the cloud. Let's come down to here. We've looked at this before, so I'm just kind of skipping through all of this. Let's see, analysis. Conclusion. The accident occurred when the aircraft struck the ground after departing from controlled flight. This resulted from the aircraft entering meteorological conditions that were incompatible with flight under VFR and exceeded the pilot's experience and capabilities. Met forecasts had indicated that conditions were likely to improve during the morning of the flight, with a low probability of thunderstorms developing along the planned route. The pilot amended his original departure time to avoid what he perceived as poor flying conditions to arrive at his destination before the weather deteriorated. However, the weather conditions at the time of departure were below the minimum required for flight under VFR. The pilot was not qualified to fly in IMC, and the evidence indicated that he subsequently lost control of the aircraft. Examination of the aircraft did not identify any pre-existing defects or anomalies that may have contributed to the accident. Okay, and of course, there is a safety sense leaflet about VFR flight into IMC. Because this is definitely one of those things that can be a killer, you know. But ultimately, and I shared this last time and I'll share it again, in the Flight to Dance series, Chris and I ended up in Brighton. And funny enough, everywhere else the next day, so we flew there on a Friday evening, expecting to fly back Saturday afternoon. Forecast looked beautiful. Everything looked super clear. We're thinking, yeah, we're going to fly back in like clear skies the next day. So the next day, we then find ourselves in Brighton with weather along the route and at the destination back at Northfield being beautiful VFR weather. But Shoreham, which was our departure airfield, was in cloud. There's 300 feet, few clouds at 300 feet, scattered clouds 600 feet. So we couldn't get out. But the thing is, if we just departed, like probably within 5 minutes, we'd be in complete clear skies. And then the other thing is we had time pressure, not time pressure as much, but financial pressure, right? Because we had booked the hotel, stayed over in Brighton one night. Now we have to pay for another hotel, like last minute, which was about £125 that I ended up paying. Then food for another day, probably about at least £30. Then extra overnight parking for the aircraft, another £17. All of it put together, you're looking at, you know, quite a significant amount of money, like last second. Again, obviously life is lived on levels. And to some people that is nothing, but to others it's something, especially when you were not expecting to have to fork out that cash. So, you know, in those cases, you can easily see like this pressure build up. I'm not saying that this is what happened in this case, but I'm just saying that pressure of making a flight happen is real. And sometimes if you don't, and I'm speaking to myself as well, if I don't brief myself that it's okay to cancel this flight and think ahead of time, you know, what risks I'm not willing to take because they're just too much risk, or they're illegal, or the flight is illegal. You have to brief yourself ahead of time and be okay with that, right? So, for example, now if I'm going to fly and stay over somewhere, I have to brief myself that, okay, I could get stuck there. Then, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to catch the train back and then catch the train again to go and collect the plane? Am I going to book another hotel for another night? How is it going to go? So I have to make sure that not only the day that I'm expecting to fly back is clear, but also the forecast for like the days after are looking decent. So things like this, you start to think about in order to avoid being in a position where, you know, instead of paying a few £100 for an extra night, you end up paying with your life. That is obviously not desirable. But as always in aviation, what we want to do is look at these things and not avoid it, and learn as best as possible. So that the importance of me looking at this is because I remember this story. when I then end up in that situation and I'm thinking, oh, but we can just kind of eke it out, right? There's a story in my head of like, well, no, I know somebody who tried to eke it, like just make it through and didn't, you know? So in doing so, I can have that as a reality, because a lot of the time I think what can happen is the thought that this could go bad is not real enough in the mind. So then obviously you can take the risk, right? But if you make it real enough, then you won't take the risk. That's my theory anyways, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, tragic story. Thoughts and prayers with the family. Rest in peace to the pilot. But definitely, you know, a learning opportunity, like every accident is. And that, ladies and gents, aviators, aviation enthusiasts, is the AAIB for the update for the week. That is the update for the week. All right. Check this out. Let's check this out. The great thing about learning something new is it humbles you. No matter how good you are at one thing, when you learn something new, you have to be rubbish again, and you have to eat some humble pie. Eat some humble pie and just go through it and make those mistakes and learn from those mistakes. That's the beauty of learning. Keeps you humble. Here is me. Here's me learning something.
Will 01, is that Bravo 1? Bravo 1, we'd like to back up to the RP, please.
Will 01, nothing to affect your backtrack to RP.
Roger, backtracking. Will 01. Will 01, is that Bravo 1? Bravo 1, we'd like to back up to the RP, please.
Will 01, nothing to affect your backtrack to RP.
Roger, backtracking. Will 01.
Well, you knew what you meant.
Yes, that's what happens. That's what happens when you learn something, and it burns, man. Especially when you're somewhat of a perfectionist like I am. Every mistake burns. But it's okay. It's part of learning, and it helps. I feel like I'm one of those weird people that can learn so many different things with like relative ease, and I'm grateful for it. Like, obviously, background as a dancer, like I'll work in a, I don't want to say I work in a therapeutic field because that's not strictly true, but it's like a therapeutic adjacent, let's say, and every little mess up is why is connection lost. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I tell you what. Let me give you a little bit of a break before we go into our final topic, which is night rating and IMC rating. Let's have a wee bit of a break.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Earth, brown, melanin, mercury, soul train, cold tan, down to the chorus also. Pure gold, mad miners, Congo, mad miners, go home, iPhone, bad apple, pure bodies dead, bad apple. The tree spoke from Ghana, them people, them Ghana, shook that tree for a money maker. Sucks how I did wrong. Earth, if everybody's birth, then what's the pure body worth? My soul cry earth, brown, melanin, mercury, soul train, cold tan, down to the course also. Pure gold, mad miners, Congo, mad miners, go home, iPhone, bad apple, pure bodies dead, bad apple. My tree spoke from Ghana. Now I'm a people them Ghana. Now you shook that tree for a money maker. And it sucks how I did wrong. Oh earth, if everybody's birth, what's a pure body worth? So sorry.
Welcome back. Shout out to Tyrone Isaac Stewart, a really good friend of mine. Shout out to him for that amazing music. So it's time for us to get down to beeswax, to the most important topic for today, because it's quite relevant to me. What we want to do is be as knowledgeable as possible so that we can save money, because this thing is expensive. And I think that this book is a really good tool, really good roadmap on becoming a pilot. So I'm gonna arm myself with information. Where are you? Let's split it. Okay. So we're going to go to the chapter. Obviously, go to Amazon, buy it yourself. Shout out to Casey, the pilot, is a captain now. At the time of writing this book, he was a first officer, and it was 2020 COVID. And of course, it was also when UK was under EASA. Since then, we Brexited out of Europe, and now it's CAA rules. So some things need to be updated, but generally it's still pretty much on the money and very much relevant. So let's go to night rating and IMC. Okay, let's see what we can pull out from this. Can we get some background music? Where's the background music? Where is it? Let's see. Okay, so night rating and IMC rating. At some stage during your hour building, you will need to complete your night rating. The night rating is one of the fun parts of your flight training. The night rating is one of the fun parts of your night flight training, as there is little pressure by way of written exams or flight tests. The night rating is all completed in the aircraft. The night rating is about 5-hour course that consists of some dual instruction at night, including cross-country flight and some solo work. I did my night rating, he says, in the longer nights of the winter. The most challenging aspect of night rating is finding a weather window to complete the training. In the UK, we do occasionally get those cold, crisp, and still winter evenings. The night rating helped me with my hour building as it meant that I could conduct longer flights without worrying about whether, we would run out of daylight when the weather was suitable. The airfield I used for hour building, Blackpool, was often open until late and fully lit throughout the winter. Night Flying by R.D. Campbell is an excellent book which helped me through my night rating. Although the book was written some time ago, the lessons are still very relevant. From simple, common sense tips like bringing a torch in your flight case to advice on in-flight emergencies at night. It's a very worthwhile read. I'll make a note of that actually. One of the items I had not appreciated that will assist you in your night rating is revising your instrument scan lessons from PPL. A good instrument scan will help your night rating, even though the night rating is a VFR course. Visual flight rules, relying on looking outside. That's night rating. So yeah, I think night rating is pretty, I think it costs around about £1,000 or maybe slightly more depending on where you do it. Pretty cool, takes about 5 hours, can be done really quickly. It's one of the easiest ratings. The reason why I've held back from it though is because it will make you not eligible for sponsored scheme programs. If you have any kind of ratings, British Airways won't take you on the Speedbird Pilot Academy program. I don't think Aer Lingus will take you. TUI won't take you either. And you need to be below 100 hours total flying hours with TUI. So that's what's kept me back. Otherwise, I would definitely jump on a night rating because it's very, very interesting. Although there's a bit of a debate about whether or not it's smart to have to do a lot of night flights on a single engine, because if you lose the engine, you have to put the aircraft down. If you have to put the aircraft down, it's dark. You can't necessarily see the ditches in the field or power lines or things like that. So it's a bit more of a risk, which I understand. I don't know how much night flying I would do on a single engine aircraft, but definitely worth thinking about. So that brings us to instrument rating or instrument rating restricted. One of the things that I did during my hour building was to compare an instrument meteorological conditions IMC rating to instrument rating restricted. The IMC rating in the UK is a UK specific rating that allows a private pilot to fly in visibility down to 1,800 meters and fly precision and non-precision approaches, with the advice being to add 200 feet to your minimum descent altitude or decision height. The course itself is 15 hours and is designed to teach the student how to fly on instruments. There are differing opinions on what and how this rating is to be used. Some people say it's a get you out of trouble rating, i.e., do not deliberately go flying in IMC, but keep it in your back pocket for when you are inadvertently need it. There's another train of thought, which is to be able to use the rating safely, you need to remain practiced. So challenge yourself and go flying when it is safe to do so, but when the conditions are suboptimal. Casey the pilot says, I tended to sit somewhere in the middle. My primary concern was that in a single engine piston aircraft, if I had an engine failure, I wanted sufficient cloud base and visibility to be able to carry out a forced landing safely. Although theoretically with the rating you could go flying with a cloud base of 300 feet and 1,800 meters visibility. In an engine failure case, I did not feel I had good enough answer to what was my plan if I had an engine failure. I did use the privilege of the rating regularly, but would only do so if the cloud base was high enough that in the event of an instrument or engine failure, I could still complete a landing visually. I would typically target a cloud base of at least 800 feet. That's useful. However you decide to use an IMC rating, make sure you are practiced and have a plan for an instrument or engine failure. An appreciation of the much higher workload for a single pilot instrument flight rules is also crucial. I got my IMC rating almost by mistake. I undertook the IMC rating because I had booked some time off work for hour building, but the weather was abysmal from the week I'd booked off. Rather than waste the time, I went ahead and did the IMC rating. An advantage of having an IMC rating is that it opens the door to a slightly shorter multi-engine instrument rating course via the competency-based instrument rating route. The standard instrument rating is a 55-hour course, or 45 hours if you have a CPL. If you meet specific requirements, if previous IMC flight there's a typo there. If you meet specific requirements of previous IMC flight time, which the IMC rating provides, the competency-based route is a minimum of 15 hours, provided you have the required experience. To be able to take advantage of any shortcut provided by the competency-based instrument rating route, you must ensure your IMC rating course includes a basic instrument flight module with certificate, and that it is taught by an instrument rating instructor. That's really useful little detail there. Using the competency-based instrument rating route, I ended up needing 52 hours to get my full instrument rating, but still saved a bit of time compared to doing the full instrument rating. The real benefit from the IMC rating came during my hour building, as I was able to exploit the marginal weather non-VFR days and get some flying done. The critical thing to bear in mind at all times is to remain safe and legal. How did my costs compare doing an IMC rating then upgrading via the competency-based IR versus standard instrument rating? I spent more in total compared to what I would have just doing the standard multi-engine instrument rating course. Would I do the same again? Absolutely, because of the flexibility the IMC rating gave me during our building to fly in marginal weather. The one thing to bear in mind for those considering doing an IMC rating then going via the competency-based instrument rating is the process only works if you have a lot of IMC time. If you have not done much flying in IMC in the run-up to your competency-based instruments rating course, the CBIR can end up being more expensive in the long run. The reason for this is that the structure of the competency-based instrument rating is not as well defined compared to the standard instrument rating course. In the competency-based case, the instructor is expecting you to turn up with a level of competency and patch the gaps to reach the required standard. To make the CBIR route work, you need to have done a reasonable amount of IMC flying. When I started my competency-based instrument rating, I had 20 hours in actual IMC, 15 hours from my IMC course, and the rest from my hour building. I was very current, and even then was just borderline having enough IMC experience to benefit from the shorter CBIR course versus undertaking the full instrument rating. A basic instrument flight module, BIFM, is a requirement for the CPL and IR course. If you do the IMC rating with a basic instrument flight module, then you won't have to do it again during your CPL or IR courses. The critical aspect is to make sure your IMC rating includes a basic instrument flight module within the approved training for the school, and don't forget your BIFM certificate. If doing an IMC or full instrument rating, I found the purchasing of an electronic flight bag useful. Electronic flight bag? My electronic flight bag consisted of an iPad mini that I could mount close to the instrument panel. For software, I downloaded FullFlight with a Jeppesen subscription for my charts and plates. All in, this was about £1,000. Although expensive, having a moving map with IFR charts superimposed improved my situational awareness. Straightforward to get the with the auto update feature of the app, I never had to worry about plates being out of date. Having an electronic flight bag means you also have access to all the flight planning information you need. If you get the 4G iPad, let's say, you're not at the mercy of needing Wi-Fi. And I liked being able to look after myself irrespective of the airfield I was visiting. And that is the chapter on night rating and IMC. So, things to consider. Night rating, pretty easy to get, probably the easiest of all the ratings, the fewest hours, no exams, pretty simple to get through, or pretty easy to get through compared. Then the CBIR, I think, competency-based instrument rating route, useful to know that if you're not going to log that many hours in IMC, it's not worth it because you're going to have too many gaps, which is going to mean that eventually you're going to spend more money doing the CBIR route. Interesting to know that he actually paid more money doing IMC and then upgrading that to a full IR. But that allowed him to hour build more. So what that sounds to me like is that if you're looking to do like a bulk of hours hour building, maybe you say like this summer I want to do 100 hours, then it makes sense to have an IMC because then you can you're more likely to be able to go flying if you have IMC. But if you're taking your time hour building, then maybe it doesn't make sense to get an IMC. So I was initially planning to do an IMC, but I think reading that has just made me change my mind. And that is the usefulness of reading and learning from people who have been there before and done it. So that is the conversation on night rating and IMC rating. All right. Well, people, before I leave you, let me remind you that we are going to start 2026 with a bang. We're going to start with a massive bang. Okay. From Monday, the 5th of January, I'm going to do a whole week of live streams and I'm going to have some guests on. So for the first time ever, we're going to have some guests on. Spoken to Mo, who used to run the Day One Mentality podcast with me last year, and he's going to be joining us. Why? Because after the Christmas break, all that eating, all that celebrating, and not caring about our health, and then suddenly the 1st of January and suddenly everyone's back in the gym. Mo is a fitness coach, a personal trainer. He's a sports therapist in training, so he's going to be helping us to get back on track, and he's a very motivated, inspirational individual, so I can't wait to have him back on. In fact, I might have a video to show you of Mo. Let me see if I can show you guys. Edited by yours truly, of course. Yes, shout out to Mo. Shout out to Mo. Looking forward to having a conversation with him, catching up, and talking about making our dreams happen, living our dreams, and enjoying the process. Hopefully, I know we're going to have a flight instructor come on. They can talk about getting through the flight instructor scholarship, what it's been like training to be a flight instructor, and what it's like to be a new flight instructor. So I'm looking forward to that because I want to do flight instructing one day. So very useful to learn from people who are further down the line. Potentially, we're going to be speaking to a therapist as well. Why? Because we all have issues. We all have issues. And here's the truth. There are people who are good at hiding their issues, and then there are people whose issues are obvious, but there are no people with no issues. Everyone has issues. And there are things we have to work through, and sometimes we need to work through those things in order to put ourselves in a position where we can make the most of an interview, make the most of an assessment day, right? We have to master ourselves, and there is a human being behind the pilot. So it's very important to keep getting tools, keep accumulating tools to support that person, the person behind the pilot. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's still in the works. This will all be confirmed next month. Who else do I have potentially passing by? Let's see. Well, that's all I'm going to say for now, but more details to be confirmed. For those of you who are into the money game, we've been talking about investing on the channel, on the show. Last week, I don't know what happened, but the markets were terrible. Yeah, my portfolio has lost hundreds in value, in value, right? I haven't lost the money. It's just lost value because the market's down. But remember what we talked about. We talked about buying the dip. Bitcoin is down to, whoa, it's still dropping. Bitcoin is down to 91,000. Oh yeah, yikes! I'm seeing red, guys. I might need to, I might need to start fasting and save money because yeah, it's looking bad out here. Vanguard is holding. Vanguard, the ETF, it's not too bad. Netflix is holding. Netflix stock looks good. Apple is reasonable. Coinbase is looking all right. Ugh. I tell you what, I don't even want to look at it. Sometimes just don't look at your investment portfolio. That's the That's the only way. Do not look. And if you got cash and you believe in the stock, you believe in the asset, whatever it is, buy the dip. So if I actually, I might, yes, I will buy some Bitcoin. But yeah, it's an opportunity to double down and buy it cheap so you can sell high. So not a great week for investments, but an opportunity. Whenever the market's down, it's an opportunity. So if you can take advantage of that, go ahead and take advantage of that. Anywho, let me get up out of here. Thank you very much for joining me. As you can see, I'm rocking the silver medal. Guys, it wasn't a huge competition, but I'm still happy that I actually got this medal. I was out doing a popping battle this weekend. If you don't know what popping is, get to know. But, you know, we're multi-talented out here and we're trying to live life to the fullest. I hope you will live your life to the fullest over the coming week. Whatever ideas you got, execute them. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, you might embarrass yourself, but in the bigger scheme of things, looking back at your life, you'll regret not having tried something a lot more than you'd regret trying it and being embarrassed. So just go for it. Just go for it and do whatever is in your heart. And I guarantee you will learn. And when you get strong emotions and you get, you know, an experience and you put them together, you have unforgettable moments, unforgettable lessons. So chuck yourself into life and experience it to the full. Thank you very much for joining me. I wish you all the best for the rest of the week. And until next time, this is Future Pilot 901, and my name is Dee, your future captain, and I'm reminding you to live your dream. Peace.
Man, from living in my car to finally getting my trial flight done.
Hold it.
To being in this moment.
Well done.
Was it worth the sacrifice? Oh man.
Pull back. Maybe pull back more. Hold it there. Pull back.
Switching to Southern radar 130.
A bit more.
Listen. Was it worth the sacrifice?
So, power right on. Center line.
Listen, if you have a dream, it's down to you to make it happen, man. You might give it everything and it might still not work, but guess what? The journey makes you a better, stronger person. Can you imagine what kind of person you would become if you didn't pursue the one thing that you thought was the best thing in the world? You didn't pursue it. What kind of person does that make you after 20, 30 years of doing that? But when you chase what you believe is the most valuable, the most beautiful, the most awesome thing that you can do, and you give it everything, win or lose, you become a better person.